Hey guys, Sarge here. What I wanted to come and show you guys is a new addition that I have purchased for the pistol lineup. One thing that I will tell you, it is a pistol that I never saw myself owning, just because I've never really been too big of a fan of the double action, single action style pistols. But what I will tell you is after having some time with this one, my mind is changing, and I'm going to show you guys real quick just a basic tabletop review, a little bit of history of this series, and then we will have some range reviews as well with me shooting and talking about it a little bit more in a couple part series with that, as well as some testing, some ammunition. So the first thing right off the bat is what is inside of the box. So this is your normal Sig Sauer pistol case. What I will tell you, and this is what I saw at a couple gun shows, Sig has redesigned their box. So if you're buying one, I believe it's summer 2019 and newer, you're actually getting a pretty cool box for it. I really don't care too much for the boxes because I carry all my pistols and rifles and stuff in my Condition 1 case. So the boxes just kind of go and get stacked up. I really don't have a purpose for them due to the Condition 1, and then obviously due to my gun safe. But for you guys that care about the boxes, it's pretty cool to get the ones that they give you. So here's your normal Sig box. We're going to open it up real quick. Right off the bat, what you are going to have is a packet full of papers for it. And as you guys can go ahead and see there, this is a Legion series pistol. So for all the Legion series that you're going to get Legion specific book, and it's going to show you some things. Now, something cool with this as well is, if you guys can see right there, okay, you go on the Sig Sauer website, you register your Legion firearm, and they will send you a all new box. It's like a 511, I think, case, and then they'll send you a challenge coin. I really don't have too much of a need for that either, but it's cool that they send you something. It's for free, so you're already paying $1,000 or more for the pistol, and you kind of get some of those items. I don't think that the Legion series is gimmicky at all. I've heard a lot of people talk about how it seems a little gimmicky. I disagree with that completely. I think the Springfield Armory Saint was a complete gimmick. So I see that more as gimmicky than I do something to this effect. One cool thing with the Legions that I am always a fan of is you get 3 magazines. Okay, and that's with every single Legion. So here, as we can see, we have some 10mm 8-round magazines, right? You can already tell by the description of the video what gun it is, but I purchased the Sig Sauer P220 chambered in 10mm. Okay, so let me get this box out of the way, guys. We're going to go in more detail with the pistol itself. So one magazine will also come in the gun. There's the third one there. Let me just clear this out of the way real quick, guys. All right, so the Legion series, when they first came out, they had a lot of people liking them, and they had a lot of people not liking them, right? What I will tell you right off the bat, one, these things come heavily lubricated. Okay, I don't know if the guy got a little crazy with it at the factory or not. But when these first came out, a lot of people were talking about them, and it caused a lot of craze. One of the big things is the PVD finish that they were using, and this is, I could be completely wrong about this. I'm just going off of things that I have seen from forums and credible sources, not forums being credible, but the credible sources out there other than the forums. And the issue that the PVD finish was having is it started rusting pretty quickly. It also started really showing a lot of wear and tear. So from my understanding of that is after a little bit of complaining about it, Sig decided to go back to the shop with it and come out with a new finish. So it was like a PVD gray finish on the original ones. Now what they're doing, it is called the Sig Sauer Legion Elite Cerakote. Okay, and in my opinion, it could just be maybe me and my eyes, I think that almost has like a grayish green look. And the video camera's not going to do it justice. But I have an OD green 1911, and they look similar in tint to each other. So this one obviously has a little bit of gray in it as well. Cool thing with the Legion, guys, is the X-ray sights. I'm going to try to zoom in so you guys can see those. So the X-ray sights here, blacked out in the rear with 2 tritium inserts, and then just a bright green front sight. I am a fan of XS big dots. However, from the way this looks, I might not change these out. And I say might not because anything could happen. But so far, I'm a pretty big fan of this. So why the P220? With the P220 lineup, it was, and I did a little bit of history, looked some stuff up with it. It was one of the pistols used by the Swiss Army. And I did not know this, but it was the trademark, in a sense, pistol that helped bring the designing mindset into the P229 and 226, which we're all pretty well aware of. So the 220's been around for a long time. The individual pistol series has multiple calibers that it's been chambered in, everything from 9mm, 38 Super, I believe 40 Smith & Wesson, and more notably 45 ACP, and that's what a lot of people get it in, is 45 ACP. They came out, I believe it was 2015, with the 10mm model. With 10mm, they changed a couple things on the pistol. Starting off, they changed the material that the frame is made out of. So on the original P220s, the frame was an alloy frame, okay, and that helped out with the weight of the gun and things of that nature. With the 220 10mm line, they decided to go ahead and make it full stainless steel. And then they also increased the barrel and slide length. So the barrel length on the original 220s, whether you got it at 45 or whatever, it came out, I believe it was 4 1/4 or maybe 4.4. So it was either 4.25 to 4.4 barrel length. With the 10mm variants, they decided to make it a 5-inch barrel. With the 5-inch barrel, unloaded, it's weighing about 44 ounces roughly, okay? So similar in weight to a 1911 rail gun. So if you have a 1911 with rail, those weigh about 41, 42 ounces, so pretty close to that. I really don't care too much about the weight of the gun, and it's not because, I don't carry them. That's not it. It's because I have a proper holster and a proper gun belt, so I really don't care how much the gun weighs. And it really doesn't play a factor into it if you have a proper holster and a proper gun belt. So with the 10mm lineup, those are some of the things that they changed, and I'm very glad that they did. When I was looking for a 10mm, this one definitely stood out amongst the rest. And we're going to go into some of the features of it here in a moment. One of the things that I was looking at for a 10mm was just something that I could absolutely use and abuse, and really wouldn't worry about any issues or anything of that nature. I was looking heavily at the Glock 20 and the Glock 40. Those were my primary two picks, and ultimately at the end of the day, I'm a huge Glock guy. I found this for a heck of a price, and I just decided to say, hey, I'll give this a shot. I'll give this a price. Give it a price. I'll give it a chance and see what it's all about, and I am glad I did. I'm not saying that the Glocks wouldn't last up. They obviously would. However, I don't think you can convince me that a Glock would last longer than this. Now, on the reliability factor, I don't know. Okay, I've definitely seen a lot of individuals use these heavily and have no issues, and then I've seen some people put them in a little tub of sand and the gun locked up. So is that the individual gun, or all guns function that way? I don't know. So what I do is I go and use my firearm and I find out for myself. I would not trust every single review of a pistol that you see on YouTube, especially from individuals that are probably getting paid for the video. And sometimes that can lean their decision a little bit. So I would just go test it yourself. Unless everybody's saying the gun sucks like, certain manufacturers, then definitely stay away from those. But Sig Sauer, I've had nothing but good luck out of those, especially from the P220 lineup. I absolutely love it. My experience with a double action, single action pistol has only been really the Beretta M9 or 92FS variant. That has been it. And I've shot thousands of rounds through that. And I've just never really been a big fan of having two different triggers. I kind of like the consistency more of the Glock or the P220 lines, where it's the same trigger every single time. Once I learned how to shoot, and I only learned how to shoot a year and a half, 2 years ago, really. Before that, I was just wasting money and time. But once I learned how to properly shoot and really focus on the important factors of a handgun, I really started caring less about what the trigger weight was or what X, Y, or Z was, because I learned how to properly press the trigger. So that helped out, right? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can go look at my J-Frame 642. It is completely stock with its 12-pound or whatever trigger, and I'm shooting it out at 60 yards. So the trigger has nothing to do with it. It's the fundamentals behind it. But it is something to get used to. A big thing that I'm a proponent of, and I echo legends of saying it, like Clint Smith, Ken Hackathorn, James Yeager, all of those guys have said that we need to be students, and Clint Smith has said this, is students of weapons craft. We need to be able to use anything that is presented to us. Well, what I would hate to have happen is a double action, single action gun is presented to me, and I'm not familiar with how they run. I'm not familiar with certain things of it. And what I don't want to have happen is one of my students bring a double action, single action gun to class, and me as an instructor, I really have no idea what that thing is, right? And I can't really relate to them with how they should press the trigger and how certain things should function with them, because I have no idea what that style of pistol is. So I don't want to be like that, right? So with that, I decided, okay, let's go with the P220. There are multiple models of the P220 in 10mm out there. They have the double action, single action, non-Legion that I'm sure you guys have seen. They have the single action only, which is virtually now making it a 1911 in sense. It has a manual safety on it. And then they have like different models with different finishes and stuff like that. I looked at all those, and none of them really stood out to me the same way that this Legion did. So we're going to look at some of the features that I appreciate greatly that come with the Legion. And starting off, we're going to really focus on the grip. So this grip panel here is very, and I'll say very aggressive, but it's not aggressive in a negative way. And I'll tell you, I've seen some people talk about this really does possibly depend on just maybe the size of your hands. I've seen some people talk about how the hump in the grip right here is just, it bothers them or whatever, but this fits perfectly into my hand. Now, that being said, we'll see what it's like shooting it. If you are testing out pistols and you think it feels good in your hand now, that's like sitting in a car, as James Yeager has said, sitting in a car without turning it on and you thinking you know how it drives, right? So we need to shoot them before we say how great it feels. But right off the bat, without shooting it, it is a very nice grip. One of the things that I like about my 1911 is the front strap checkering, and I really think that is a must, right? This has wonderful front strap checkering. I have a Sig 1911, and I think they use almost the same checkering on these as what they do on their 1911s. Something that I have not seen before, but I am very, very glad that they have, is the checkering underneath the trigger guard. I have never seen that on a pistol, but just getting an initial grip, right? Because I grip the gun a little bit more forward than maybe some do, right? I've seen a lot of people grip it back here. I control the gun where it's going to recoil the most. This grip, that checkering really locks it in place. So pretty cool, and we'll see how it is overall while shooting. If you're one of those guys that is grabbing up in the front of the trigger guard, that's cool for you. I don't do that. It's checkered up there as well. What I have heard about this rail, it is a Sig designed rail. It's not a 1913 rail, but my Streamlight Turtle one attaches just fine to it, so no issues there. One of the things I've already talked about is the X-ray sights. Very nice. So what we're going to go over now, guys, is an issue that I've seen a lot of people talk about, and it is these controls. I have heard several people review this pistol and talk about how these controls being smaller has just thrown them through a loop, right? I do not use this lever right here for releasing the slide, okay? I would use it at the most for locking the slide to the rear, if not an empty magazine lock to the rear. I never really use this slide stop at all. One of the things with the Legion that's really cool, and I've heard some people say that they're not that big of a difference between their other Sig pistols. I've never shot a 226 or a 229 or anything like that, so I don't know what their triggers feel like. What I will tell you is this one is pretty slick. So here is the double action on the trigger. Okay, And here is the single action. Okay, so do it one more time. Here's the double action. Okay, and I will tell you guys just right off the bat, that is smooth. Okay, compared to some of the other ones, that is pretty smooth. I would say definitely on par with how a Glock trigger feels. And single action. Okay, so right off, after talking about the trigger, guys, we're going to go ahead and break it down, and I'm going to show you what the internals look like. One of the things with the Sig pistol that I absolutely appreciate is the quality and craftsmanship with the design of them. So the first step is we are going to, if there's a magazine in the gun, we would obviously drop the magazine. There was no magazine in it. We are now going to lock the slide to the rear. After locking the slide to the rear, we're going to ensure that there is nothing. Okay, nothing. Cool. One of the things with the SIGs, all of them kind of disassemble the exact same way. There's a takedown lever right here. We're going to press that takedown lever all the way down until it can't go anymore. We're going to grab a hold of the slide. We're going to follow it off of the gun. And here we go, guys. So, kind of show you in there. Pretty well oiled. I have not done this. But very nice. Okay. The recoil spring and everything's right here. Takes out just like a normal gun. Okay. The slide, the frame rails, right? The rails that the slide rides into, it is a full railed gun here. So it's not like some where the railing stops, similar to like 1911s where the railing might stop a little bit. It goes the whole way of the frame. The overall design, if we look, there are no tooling marks or anything of that nature. The purple that you guys might see right there, it's from the recoil spring and the mixture of the lubrication, but no issues. Pretty well designed, guys. And like I said, this is an all steel frame, which was one of the main reasons why I went with it. So why go with this? And one of the things that I covered briefly, the magazines, right? And to reassemble this, what we're going to do is line the frame back up to the slide. Since I'm on camera, I'm always going to have an issue doing it, right? We're going to line the slide back up to the frame. And then one of the things I want to talk to you guys about is the difference of why did I go with this and not go with a 1911, right? So once we have the slide back on, we're just going to lock it to the rear. Okay. And we are going to push that safety or the takedown lever back up. Rack the slide. The slide didn't go flying off the gun, so it must be back on. Now we're going to do a functions check. So we're going to press the trigger. Press the trigger. Okay, now what I do, just to double check it, right, the decocker, which is right here, no issues, right? So there you go, guys. This is my tabletop review of the Sig Sauer P220 10mm. Let me know what you guys think about it. I will be testing this pistol with SIG ammo and a couple other manufacturers' ammunition. It is a 10mm, so I have to shoot some hot 10mm rounds out of it. I am fully aware. You guys let me know what 10mm ammo you guys would like to see. Right off the bat, for self-defense, I am looking at doing the 180 grain jacketed hollow points. These are supposedly traveling at 1250 feet per second. We'll see. Holsters. It's hard to find holsters out there. For the 220, it's super easy. For the 220 10mm with that extra barrel length, it's been harder to find holsters. So if you guys know a good holster company to go with for the 220, let me know. My go-to pick is probably going to be a leather inside the waistband holster. Yes, I plan on carrying this gun. I'm going to start doing a new series called I Carry, and it's going to go over certain reasons why you might want to carry this style of pistol, right? We're going to go over some of the pros and cons of carrying this style of pistol. But I am definitely intrigued by the 10mm round. Depending on, obviously, you know, how well I shoot it compared to other 9mm or 45 variants that I carry. It might just very well replace my trusted Glocks as my everyday carry. Okay, but it's going to have to pass through certain tests. And I'm going to do a video on those tests that I do to show okay, hey, this gun has now passed that benchmark required for me to decide to carry it. So that's the plan, guys. We'll talk about any of the issues if we have ammo issues, magazine issues, anything to that effect. That is one of the big reasons why I did not go with a 1911. Is that there are so many pieces to the puzzle that you have to account for with a 1911 that I really just didn't want to mess with. So I chose to go this route, and I'm going to be pretty happy with it, I'm sure. So if you guys know of any good ammunition that you guys would want to see tested, or if you guys know of any good holster companies that I could definitely run this gun in, let me know down in the comments. As always, guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned for more. Sarge out.